For some, it's the most wonderful time of the year, and for others, it's just another round of dodging questions about your love life while trying not to look like you just crawled out of a cave. Enter the Performance Package 5.0 from this video sponsor, Manscaped. Get that crisp feeling of confidence this holiday season by visiting manscaped.com/skillup to get 20% off plus free shipping when you use offer code SKILLUP at checkout. Click below to check it out for yourself or stick around to the end of the video to learn more. Gamers, man, I gotta tell you, I feel like Jeff was looking at all the shit we were giving him about how bad last year's Game Awards were, and he was like, I took that personally. So Jeff put on his smartest suit, his sparkliest pair of sneakers, and he locked the fuck in to deliver what I think was the greatest Game Awards show yet. Yes, even better than the one that Joel McHale hosted.
World premiere videos every 15 minutes, breaking news, exclusive demos, and many other phrases that basically mean video game commercials.
It was 3.5 hours of peak, world premiere after world premiere, banger after banger, zero obnoxious mobile ads starring celebrities dressed as chickens. Hell, developers were even allowed to get up on stage to accept their awards, and as an added bonus, they were allowed to speak for longer than 6.5 seconds without being shooed off by the teleprompter. Much like Skynet, Jeff Keighley has clearly become self-aware, and we should all be terrified. I'm exaggerating when I say it was 3.5 hours of peak. It was certainly 3.5 hours long, no doubt about that, but there was also a bit of chaff in there as well. That's where This Week in Video Games comes to the rescue. If you didn't have time to watch the entire show, don't worry, because we've taken the best reveals, the best speeches, and the best Muppet gags, and condensed them all down into a much more manageable helping, one that captures the spirit of the show without an AMD commercial interrupting the proceedings every 90 seconds. Alright, let's do this, shall we? Here comes all the best stuff from the Game Awards 2024. Awards actually had a bit of a pre-show where they wanted to knock over a few smaller announcements, but some of them still really got me going, like this one, for example. Take a look. This is Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, headed to all platforms next year, and since we're not getting a proper 3D Ninja Gaiden sequel anytime soon, I'll happily settle for this. It's actually being made by The Game Kitchen, the studio who put out the absolutely fantastic Blasphemous games, but honestly, that choice of developer is a little surprising since the Blasphemous games are almost 2D Souls-like, much slower in their pacing, whereas this is your classic lightning-fast Ninja Gaiden goodness. It does look sick though, and this one went straight onto my wish list. The Fighting Game Award was the first one to be handed out on the night, and it went to Tekken 8, no surprises there. Later in the show, they revealed that Clive Rosfield from Final Fantasy XVI was headed to Tekken. A great fit, actually. He'll be available in early access over the weekend. If you enjoyed Unpacking, a game about unpacking boxes after moving, then you're probably going to love packing a car before the move in a game called One Move Away. If you've got OCD, then this one is definitely for you. It's headed to all platforms bar Switch next year. Slay the Spire got announced early when the developer was very, very mad at Unity for their runtime fee bullshit, but now we've got our first proper look at the game. It'll arrive into early access sometime in 2025. The best VR award then went to Batman Arkham Shadow, which was actually a pretty tight race thanks to Asgard's Wrath being a top tier VR experience. Both of those are Meta exclusives, by the way, so you can see how much Meta are pushing the VR scene forward right now, but to be fair, they are spending like $4 billion a quarter, so you'd hope they'd be making some gains. Very cool to see this next reveal from a legendary game maker. Take a look. This is thick as thieves, and I was actually scheduled to get a behind closed doors look at this one while I was at the Game Awards and meet its legendary creator, Warren Spector, so I'm very, very sad not to have been able to make that trip. This looks to be some sort of competitive multiplayer immersive sim, which is kind of an awesome idea, and I don't think anyone has tried it in quite this way. There's no release window for this one yet, and we've only seen this cinematic reveal trailer so far, but yeah, I'm definitely on board already. So that looked really great, but then there was whatever the hell this is. This is Shadow Labyrinth, and it's apparently a new take on the Pac-Man formula. It's a dark, gritty 2.5D Metroidvania starring a swordsman who gains power by consuming his foes. Honestly, I feel like this team just wanted to make a Metroidvania and needed an IP hook, and so Pac-Man got dragged in. It's the most concerning Pac-Man appearance since Pixels. Let's hope it doesn't sink that low. This one's headed to all platforms in 2025. Tales of the Shire got a release date locked in for March 25th next year, looking very cozy indeed. And this next reveal really came out of nowhere, and I gotta admit, I was very confused when I saw that PlayStation logo flash up on screen. Take a look.
Let's go. Stay quiet.
Okay. Do you know where we're going?
Towards those, come on!
Hello?
Oh, hello. No! You killed the piano!
Okay, so I got an email from Sony about this one afterwards, and they tell me that this new game titled Midnight Motor Club is a, quote, 6-player shooter in the dark set of a sprawling, pitch-black mansion where the only light you ever see comes from a flashlight piercing the darkness or gunfire piercing your heart, end quote. It's clearly one of those social horror games like, Phasmophobia, and it comes from Velen Studios, who previously put out Knockout City and that Toys-to-Life Mario Kart game where you actually, drive like a remote-control Mario Kart around. It was pretty fun. Anyway, this looks like a good time if you have some friends to play with. It's releasing February of next year, but there's a demo out right now for both PC and PS5. Astrobot began its awards sweep for the night when it received the award for Best Family Game. We'd certainly be seeing the Asobi team again very soon. But right after that, the team who made Sifu revealed their next title, and it is a little bit different. This is a rematch, and it appears to be Rocket League, but with people. Sounds like a crazy idea. Not gonna lie, this reveal made me very sad. Sifu was sick as hell, and there was nothing else like it. This is a soccer game, and I'm sure it will be really popular and probably make Slowcap a lot of money, and I'm happy for them for that, but yeah, I would have much rather Sifu 2, personally. So Lasso 2 was the last big reveal of the pre-show, and it's looking nice. Clearly more ambitious and a much bigger budget than the first game. It'll be arriving into early access sometime in 2025. And with that, it was time for Jeff Keighley to take the stage for the start of the award show proper. He gave a pleasant opening speech welcoming us all, but offering a very special welcome to select luminaries in the crowd, like Ken Kutaragi, father of the PlayStation. When people started clapping, he stood up and headed towards the stage. Clearly he thought he had won something, but he had not. There was no making fun of him though, because all the roasting this year came from the Muppet duo Statler and Waldorf. Let's have a listen to some of their very on-point commentary.
How long's this bozo gonna go on?
Well, that's what I've been asking for the last 10 years.
Oh!
Hey guys, yeah, up here, host. Yeah, we're we can hear you.
Oh, good. Can you hear this? Boo!
Yeah, please wrap it up.
Now here's my theory about these Muppets. They were ostensibly meant to make fun of the show and Jeff Keighley, but my theory is that Jeff Keighley wrote all these gags himself to make fun of us for always making the same jokes about the Game Awards. It's called lampshading, and it's a very clever trick to disarm criticism before it's offered up. And you know what, Jeff? It worked a treat. You got us real good. Well played, sir. Troy Baker and Todd Howard came out to deliver the first award, and I gotta say, they really should have brought out a crate for poor Todd to stand on. They were there to hand out the award for best performance, and they got a little help from a man who knows a thing or two about performances, Harrison Ford himself, and in true form, you could tell that he wasn't exactly super excited to be there.
If I'd known he was so good, I would have done it myself. Boy, let's get...
He gave the award to Melinda Juergens for her incredible performance in Hellblade: Senua's Saga 2, and she was clearly very happy to be up there.
Oh my god, this is an incredible honor. Like, I'm gonna cry. I don't know where to start. I want to big shout out to my fellow nominees. You are all incredible. I want to thank our incredibly talented team at Ninja Theory, who are just so amazing. Our cast, our crew, our stunt team, like they've done just such a great job.
Earlier, Jeff had hinted that this show would be a good one, and so we're all expecting a pretty strong opening reveal, and it really doesn't get much stronger than this.
Back to the village. Go, now.
Nay! I must save them!
The Witcher 4 cometh. Earlier announced by CD Projekt Red, this was the first proper revealing one that answered a central question. Would Ciri be the protagonist this time around? Much to everyone's delight, the answer is yes, and an extremely badass Ciri took center stage here in a trailer that aimed to set the tone for the game, really leaning into gritty, dark sadness in much the same way the previous games did. This is obviously just a cinematic reveal, but very interesting to note that at the start of the trailer, it said it was being rendered on an unannounced NVIDIA RTX GPU. I wonder which one that could be. Obviously, it's the 50 series GPU, which is rumored to be revealed at CES next month. I will admit that the Witcher 4 reveal wasn't actually as much of a surprise to me personally, because we had earlier organized with CD Projekt Red to join the Friends Per Second podcast on the morning after the show. And even though I won't be there in person, I will still be joining remotely for that chat, along with Lucy and Jake and Timur. That will go up over the weekend on this YouTube channel. It is one of the very, very few interviews that CD Projekt Red are doing on the game post-announcement, so you won't want to miss it. Be sure to subscribe and ding that notification bell so you'll know the minute that video is live. Alright, on with the show. Usually Jeff likes to space out his banger announcement, but clearly he was feeling cocky, which is why he followed up a CD Projekt Red reveal with a FromSoft reveal.
Of redemption, you were chosen, thrown together by forces beyond our control.
So when I first saw the storm circle closing in and multiple characters running about, I was like, oh no, they actually made the Elden Ring Battle Royale game that I joked about on this very show a few weeks ago. But no, fortunately, this is not a Battle Royale game, but it is still very surprising. This is Elden Ring Night Rain, and it's a standalone Elden Ring spin-off. Here's how FromSoft themselves described it. Quote, players take on the night together in an all-new experience from the team at From Software. Elden Ring Night Rain will be a multiplayer focused return to Round Table Hold, set in a universe parallel to the events of Elden Ring. Players must choose from 8 unique characters, each with their own unique abilities and powerful ultimates. Their journey takes them to Limveld, where they'll have to make split-second decisions when it comes to combat and exploration in the face of a night cycle that shrinks the map with the night's tide. At the end of each night, players will face a powerful boss, and if victorious, awaken to bigger challenges. Each session culminates on the 3rd night when they must face off against the chosen Night Lord, end quote. They then go on to talk about the fact that no 2 runs will be the same, saying that enemies, rewards, and the lands themselves will be different every time. There's also some meta progression stuff making subsequent runs easier. So yeah, they really did make an Elden Ring co-op roguelite spin-off. I mean, who had that on their bingo card, right? Either way, I will never say no to more FromSoft. There's no release date for this one yet, but it is headed to console and PC sometime next year. Rip the Bloodborne remake dream, by the way. There were rumors that that might happen, but of course, that's never going to happen. Why do we kid ourselves? Come on now. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is headed to PC on January 23rd. Love to see it. Catly is... You know what? I have absolutely no idea what this is, but it's got cats in it, so it's going to make bank. I know that much. The next reveal, honestly, was the best reveal of the entire show for me. It is the next game from Ueda-san, the man behind Ico, Shadow of the Colossus, and The Last Guardian. Take a look at this. The vibe of this is like 355 out of 10. It's like sad Pacific Rim crossed with Shadow of the Colossus. The visual design of the mechs, the color palette, all of it was just like, oh my god, I need this right now. It just looked remarkable, and I love it when a game reveal can just ignite your imagination like this. It absolutely does that. Interestingly, it's being published by Epic Games, which means it will be an Epic exclusive on PC, but it's also headed to PS5 and Xbox. It's still untitled at the moment, simply referred to as Project Robot. God, I'm excited for this. I absolutely cannot wait. In stark contrast to the more down-tempo vibes of that was the reveal trailer for the Obsidian's Outer Worlds 2, and yeah, much like Jeff Keighley and his Muppet gags, they were clearly trying to get ahead of some of the criticism.
And like all good sequels, we've included everything that should have been in the first game. More action. More weapons. And more graphics.
I was a very big fan of the first game, despite its smaller scale and simpler construction. I'm very keen for this one too. It arrives sometime in 2025 for all platforms bar Switch, and yes, that means that the Obsidian game is coming to PS5 as well. So stay tuned. Joseph Fares lasted about 6 seconds on stage before his first F-bomb.
We fuck shit up without fucking up.
But that's why we love him. He was there to show off his next game, one that he says is better than anything that he or his studio have ever made. Take a look at Split Fiction.
We sure cause a lot of explosions.
So this looks like the perfect follow-up to It Takes Two, continuing the focus on co-op, continuing the focus on engaging personal narratives, and continuing that focus on relentless gameplay and scenario inventiveness. It just looks so interesting and fun. Like, it really does look hella fun, and clearly the dark sense of humor we saw in that fucked up elephant scene is making a return, because at one point we play as little piggies who get turned into sausages. Love that. March 6th for all platforms, so not too long to wait. Very excited indeed. Also on March 6th is Fragpunk, a hero shooter from NetEase that's actually meant to be pretty good. I've heard some good chatter about this one, to be honest. One other March release date was for Killing Floor 3 from Tripwire Interactive. No specific date yet, but it's arriving sometime then. This next block was really, really special. Jeff Keighley has copped a lot of flack in the past for not properly addressing the number of layoffs affecting the industry over the past 3 years, but this year he used his platform to highlight the work of someone who was tackling that challenge head on. Amir Satvat runs a totally free of charge support service for anyone working in games affected by layoffs. He offers resources around mentorship, upskilling, networking, and more. But most importantly, he maintains a register of open opportunities in the game space. And by connecting people with opportunities, he's helped over 3,000 people find new gigs. To put that in perspective, there's been roughly 30,000 job losses in the games industry over the last 3 years, and he's helped plug 10% of that gap. It may sound small, but he is one dude working for free, trying to help make this industry a better place, and honestly, it's just an incredibly inspiring story about how to make a real difference. So congrats to Amir for becoming the first ever Game Awards game changer, and let's hope this spotlight makes it even easier for him to help game workers find new positions. Alright, back to the commercials. This one looked pretty sick until I saw who was making it. Take a look.
Rise, partner. Our hunt for Starfall begins.
So this is Steel Hunters, and I was like, okay, got some strong Titanfall energy going on. I'm into this. But then I saw it was being made by Wargaming, and my enthusiasm immediately cratered. The developer behind various World of free-to-play games is known for their fairly rubbish approach to in-game monetization, and maybe things will be different this time around, but I wouldn't bet large on it. If you'd like to see it for yourself, though, there's an open beta test running right now until the 22nd of December, so get in there, let me know what you think. The Long Dark 2 was revealed in a lovely-looking cinematic trailer. This time it's called Black Frost, and it'll arrive sometime in 2026. Borderlands 4 was up next, and I'm gonna be real with you, if you'd have told me that this was a Borderlands 3 DLC drop, I would have believed you. I like Borderlands, I really do, but I think its formula is a little stale at this point, and nothing in this trailer seemed as though it was shaking up that formula. I would have loved to have seen some call-outs about some new gameplay additions to the series, maybe an evolution of the art style, I don't know. I'm sure it's gonna be fun, but yeah, this trailer didn't really do too much for me personally. A few quick awards cantered through after that, including Most Anticipated Game. If you guessed GTA 6, you get 0 points, because absolutely anyone could have guessed that. Best Multiplayer Game went to Helldivers 2, Best Community Support to Baldur's Gate 3, and Best Art Direction went to Metaphor Re Fantasio. Personally, I think Space Marine 2 got robbed, but that's just me. Splitgate 2 looks pretty cool, and it's arriving in 2025. Same goes for Mecha Break, which is locked in for Northern Spring 2025. And then it was time for a reveal that got the fighting game community very, very excited. This is, of course, a new Virtua Fighter game, one that was hinted at a little while ago by a Sega executive, but then there was that Virtua Fighter remaster announced, so we all worried that that would be the end of it. Turns out Sega had much bigger plans than that, and actually RGG, the studio behind the Yakuza games, are helming this one. That's not all they're making though. This is Project Century, an untitled game from RGG that I thought was maybe Sleeping Dogs until I saw the RGG logo. It's set in 1915 Japan and involves beating up a lot of people on the street, which is absolutely RGG's jam. I was a huge fan of Like a Dragon Ishin, the one set in feudal Japan, so I'm very down for another RGG period piece. Sadly, no release window for this one yet, so don't expect it anytime soon. Kojima returned to the stage in an absolutely sick get-up with the coolest brooch you have ever seen. He handed out the award for Best Game Direction to Astrobot, their second win of the night. More to come later. And then it was time for the return of a long forgotten franchise. So when this one was playing, I was like, is this a release date trailer for that Vin Diesel art game that they've been speaking about for years? But no, it's actually Turok, like actual Turok from back in the day when that shit was on Nintendo 64 and it went super hard with a gun that would literally suck the brains out of enemies. Love that. Back then it was first person though, and this is not. And I gotta say that feels like a bit of a downgrade. It is being made by Saber Interactive, however, who just put out the exceptional Space Marine 2, so I harbor fairly high hopes for this one. It's also got co-op, which is nice. No date yet, but it's headed to all platforms bar Switch. Both Helldivers 2 and Warframe have huge game-changing updates out right now. Balatro won the award for Best Debut Indie Game and Best Indie Game. The developer Local Thunk was a little camera shy, so he sent up the game's publisher to collect on his behalf. Very wholesome. And then, I swear to God, I leaped out of my chair when I realized what this next reveal was. Roll it, Stu. With most of the Resident Evil remakes now out the way, Capcom has begun to turn their gaze towards equally deserving properties. One of my personal favorites was always Onimusha, a survival horror game, but instead of using guns, you were a badass samurai. It was a legendary game that I think would translate perfectly into the modern era. This is not a remake or a remaster though, it's actually an entirely new title called The Way of the Sword. It's releasing sometime in 2026, and as excited as I am about it, I'm equally excited to know that with each new IP revealed, we get one step closer to the day when a Dino Crisis revival begins to happen. That is the day we are all thirsting for. I can't wait. We've got a new look at Dying Light the Beast, which appears to be a more linear take on the Dying Light formula. Not too much longer to wait for that one though, since now it's locked in for a northern summer 2025 release. A few more awards cantered through here, including Best Action Adventure Game to Astrobot, Best RPG to Metaphor Refantazio, very well deserved. EAFC won Best Sports Game, and Frostpunk won Best Strategy Game. Not gonna lie, kinda wish the team had the chance to stand up and receive that award. Feel like they really deserve that moment given how much they've achieved with that franchise. Our Muppet friends then made a brief reappearance to deliver some of the best zingers of the night. Take a listen.
Did you catch all of that?
No, but I wish the rest of the show went that fast.
Yeah, it's like the game commercials with award interruptions.
Oh!
Yeah. Oh, wait. Huh? There's Kojima, look. Ooh. Did you know that Jeff Keighley's friends with him?
Yeah, but does Kojima know that?
And after that, it was on to more reveals. Post Malone is teaming up with the Hunt Showdown team Crysis for an update called Murder Circus. It looks truly cursed in the best possible way. Snoop Dogg and his son then rocked up to hand out the award for Best Ongoing Game to Helldivers 2, so a big congrats to Arrowhead on that win. Stage Fright is a new game from Ghost Town Games, the team that brought us Overcooked. This one is yet another co-op adventure, only this time it's centered on puzzle solving and platforming rather than kitchen antics. I was very excited to see the reveal of an ambitious-looking Game of Thrones game, but the further I got into that trailer, the less and less excited I got, until I got to the very end and saw that this is actually a mobile game. Like, only mobile, no consoles or PC ports at all. I guess initial excitement culminating in crushing disappointment is the perfect metaphor for the Game of Thrones experience, so maybe developer Netmarble really nailed it with this one. 2 racing game reveals now. The first is a revival of a near 30-year-old PC racing game called Screamer, and the other one is a teaser for a Sonic racing game called Cross Worlds. Screamer is out in 2026 and Sonic is out sometime next year. Best Adaptation Award went to the Fallout TV show, and yep, no surprises there. Arcane obviously would have been in the running too, but it aired really close to the judging deadline, so I'm going to guess that a number of the judges just hadn't seen it yet. Regardless, Fallout is very deserving indeed, and we're all looking forward to that season 2. Getting down to the business end now, only 5 reveals left. The first is gameplay for the previously announced Den of Wolves, the game from the lead creative behind the Payday franchise. Take a look. To me, this looks like if Cyberpunk had a multiplayer heist mode, and you know what? I am 1000% down for that formula. I think this looks sick as hell, I'm super into it, and I'm hoping the wait for this one isn't too much longer. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth took home the award for Best Score, and I 100% support that decision, despite the fact that the chanting monk in Metaphor absolutely burned the place down with his performance. Next up, we got our first proper look at Mafia: The Old Country, the prequel to the Mafioso series that was recently revived by way of remakes and remasters. Take a look.
To become a man of honor, repeat these words. I swear my loyalty.
Man, I gotta tell you, as an Italian man, I find the lack of fat dudes in this trailer deeply disturbing. I want some Bobby Bacala-sized paisano up in here, and yet all we get are fit, handsome men. Where is the authentic representation, I ask you? Besides that, it does look pretty cool. Obviously very ambitious with its visuals, narrative, and setting. Would have been nice to see some actual gameplay, but I guess we'll get that pretty soon since this one is due to drop sometime around 2025. A final run of quick off-screen awards went to Balatro for Best Mobile Game, Best Audio Design to Hellblade 2, and Black Myth Wukong won the Player's Choice Award in addition to winning Best Action Game, an award they actually did get up on stage to receive, so a big congrats to Game Science for a stunning debut release. Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad and Laura Bailey from a bunch of video games then got up on stage to do a lengthy bit that looked like they were almost gonna kiss at one point. It was really weird, but they were there to reveal one of the best looking games of the entire night, Dispatch.
Whenever there's a crisis in the area, we get a call, and guess who answers? Me.
Too easy.
Oh, you shouldn't have done that.
What are you doing in Visigal? Is that your car?
I don't have a car.
That's gonna be a weird insurance claim.
The trailer for this one made it sound like this was a game from Telltale because it listed a bunch of Telltale games, but this isn't from Telltale. Rather, it's from a studio comprised of former Telltale employees, and the studio is called Ad Hoc. Dispatch is a pretty sick premise, to be honest. Dispatching heroes to the scene, matching up the right superpowers with the needs of the job, getting it wrong sometimes and getting chewed out by your boss. Plus, the voice cast here is absolutely stacked, so lots of reasons to be very excited about this one. But not as excited as Jeff Keighley was about this next reveal. Dude was basically tearing up in the lead up to it, and I gotta say, I was a little surprised to learn that it was actually an Okami sequel, helmed by the legendary Hideki Kamiya, who now leads a new studio called Clovers, a nod to his past work at Clover, where he led work on games like Beautiful Joe and God Hand. It was a significant reveal for a few reasons. Number one, people really love Okami, and they would have bet big money that a sequel would never have happened, and yet here it is. Number two, Kamiya and Clovers under the Capcom umbrella, that is a big statement about where Capcom is at right now and where they plan to go next, buoyed in confidence by the success of their tentpole franchises, just as they were in years past. It's a full circle moment for Capcom, for Kamiya, for Okami fans, and the industry as a whole, and that's probably why Jeff was getting a little emotional up there. Before the final award of the night, there was time for just one more reveal. Would it be the Silk Song release date trailer, the Bloodborne remake announcement? Would the Half-Life 3 reveal rumors turn out to be true? Absolutely not, don't be ridiculous, but here's a new Naughty Dog game. Enjoy. Not since 2013 has Naughty Dog released a game based on a new IP. They basically spent the last decade making and remastering the Last of Us games. Hell, they remastered the first one twice in 10 years. So, you know, to see something actually new from them, it's exciting. This is Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, and I will admit, hard for me to get too excited about this one since it kind of just looks like, you know, space stuff with so much product placement in there that it would make Kojima blush. It looked a little Concord coded at times with its designs and color palette. It Didn't show off any gameplay either, but we do know there's a sick looking sword involved. This one is being directed by Neil Druckmann and is the full focus of Naughty Dog now that their Last of Us live service game has been shit-canned. There's no date for this one yet, but hey, it's on the way. With the last of the game commercials done, it was time to award the final gong of the night, the Game of the Year award. The award very deservedly went to Astrobot, capping off an absolutely incredible night for them. In their acceptance speech, they thanked a bunch of people, including Nintendo, funnily enough, without actually saying their name. And honestly, it was just fantastic to see this small team put out such an incredible game and be recognized for it. I certainly hope the rest of the industry takes note, because we need more games like Astrobot. Funnily enough, it was a point very deliberately made by the person who handed out this award. So as is tradition, since we got mad that Vin Diesel handed out a Game of the Year award one time, it's now handed out by the game director of the previous winner, in this case, Sven Vicky of Larian. The speech that he gave was honestly, I think, the most important one of the night, because before a captive audience of CEOs, executives, and game directors, he laid out a manifesto for how to make bangers. And if everyone in the room took his advice, we'd have a much, much better industry today. It's a bit of a long speech, but it's worth playing in its entirety.
The Oracle told me that the Game of the Year 2025 was going to be made by a studio who found the formula to make it up here on stage. It's stupidly simple, but somehow it keeps on getting lost. Studio made their game because they wanted to make a game that they wanted to play themselves. They created it because it hadn't been created before. They didn't make it to increase market share. They didn't make it to serve as a brand. They didn't have to meet arbitrary sales targets or fear being laid off if they didn't meet those targets. And furthermore, the people in charge forbade them from cramming the game with anything whose only purpose was to increase revenue and didn't serve the game design. They didn't treat their developers like numbers on a spreadsheet. They didn't treat their players as users to exploit. And they didn't make decisions they knew were short-sighted in function of a bonus or politics. They knew that if you put the game and the team first, the revenue will follow. They were driven by idealism and wanted players to have fun. And they realized that if the developers didn't have fun, nobody was going to have any fun. They understood the value of respect, that if they treated their developers and players well, those same developers and players would forgive them when things didn't go as planned. But above all, they cared about their game because they loved games. It's really that simple, said the Oracle. Winning Game of the Year turned out to be a life-changing event for us. It was an amazing thing. To those who will win Game of the Year 2024, you have no idea what's waiting for you. It's an incredible honor, and you're in for a heck of a ride. Now remember, should you be told to wrap it up for tonight, you can always come back next year and chat for 3 minutes.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the Game Awards 2024. I think it'll be remembered for a few things. I think taking a moment to recognize layoffs and celebrate the work that people are doing to alleviate that stuff was a real highlight. I think that developers being able to say their piece without the music playing them off as soon as they arrive on stage, that was a big upgrade. Celebrity appearances were kept to a minimum, which I'm always a fan of. The Muppets roasted Jeff, and who doesn't love a good Jeff roast? The reveals were top tier, and most importantly, some really fantastic games were recognized for their greatness, and in almost every category, it feels like the right game won. Jeff copped a lot of shit last year about how bad that award ceremony was, but full credit to him. He really took that feedback and delivered a fantastic show. If we can keep up this level of sincerity and showmanship, I think the Game Awards has a long and bright future ahead of it. Alright, I'm off to play some more Path of Exile 2. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe and ding that bell. See you tomorrow for that Witcher 4 interview with CD Projekt Red, and see you next week for our final This Week in Video Games for the year. Until then, peace, and a big thanks to this video's sponsor, Manscaped. For the rest of the world, Christmas time means sub-zero temperatures, but down here in Australia, it is hot as hell, and so we are doing our best to get our beach bods ready. Believe me, it's a pretty hopeless task for most of us, but we do our best. Wherever you are in the world, the holidays are a chance to connect with friends and family, the office Christmas party, the Christmas dinner, the New Year's Eve shenanigans. So how would you like to enter all those settings with the sort of confidence that comes from knowing you're taking proper care of yourself? Enter Manscaped and their legendary Performance Package 5.0, the best kit money can buy when it comes to taking care both up here and down there. In this kit is the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, the most advanced ball trimmer in the history of the human species. Your body hair will tremble in fear at the sight of it, for it knows it cannot withstand the two interchangeable blades, one of them for skimming off the top and the new foil blade for a closer shave. The hair can try and run and hide, but it will not succeed, for the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra features dual LED spotlights to provide contrast on multiple skin tones. With this sort of illumination, there is nowhere for your wayward hairs to hide. That's not all, since the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra also features 3 length setting combs, plus it's waterproof, making it safe to use in the shower and very easy to clean. The Performance Package 5.0 also includes the nose and ear hair trimming Weed Whacker 2.0, the Crop Soother aftershave lotion, as well as the Crop Preserver anti-chafe ball deodorant. Once they touch your sack, you'll never go back. Hell, Manscaped are feeling generous this holidays, and so right now, if you grab the Performance Pack 5.0, you'll also get some Manscaped boxes, very comfy, as well as the Shed 2.0 travel bag. Obviously, this is a great gift for your bro, your mate, even your dad if you have that kind of relationship. Most men would do well to take better care down there, so if you want to hook a brother up or maybe even just spoil yourself, then visit manscaped.com/skillup and use offer code SKILLUP for a 20% discount on your order plus free shipping. That's manscaped.com/skillup, offer code SKILLUP at checkout for 20% off plus free shipping. Thanks Manscaped for sponsoring the video, and thank you for watching it.